Hey y'all. So I wanted to touch base a little on what it means to be a cycle breaker and why it's important to have a sufficient and sustainable tool belt in order to help you walk through breaking cycles and creating sustainable change for your lineage. So, briefly about my journey in being a generational cycle breaker and just being the one in my family to kind of see what patterns weren't working for the overall health of not only myself but my family, and making change. I noticed that something wasn't right just about the dynamic between my family when I was about 16, and specifically because I guess I have been gifted with a level of sight that is not, the word isn't normal. I just was able to see certain things that wasn't working, like certain patterns, certain ways of being that just wasn't what I saw in family, wasn't my definition of family, and wasn't what I wanted to create within my family. And it took me a long time to come to terms with that. I was 16 when I had a supernatural experience and witness. If you're familiar with spiritual warfare, I just witnessed a lot of dark energies around my family, and I just knew that this was not something that I wanted my family to go through. And upon experiencing that, it was an invitation to do better within myself. So I had utilized this realization from around 16 to 19 to go inward, and I didn't really know where to begin. I thought that I could begin by studying Buddhism and Hinduism and going into yoga and meditation, and I was an intense meditator. I would meditate for an hour every day and then do yoga for an hour every day, and that was my morning routine for at least a year. And was in a constant state of searching and seeking and trying grand experiences and kind of running basically from my family. I traveled a lot, which is not bad, but essentially I was using travel as an escape mechanism and escape from taking responsibility and facing what it is that I wanted to create in my life. But also that was the age to do that too. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of heavy expectations that, again, have a lot to do with my family. But ultimately, just realizing and recognizing after this really began around 16. So after 10 years of experiencing that initiatory place of like, oh, wake up, Etiange, is this what you want to create in your family? And being like, no, it's actually not what I want to create. And going on a mission to find out how I can create something better. 10 years later, I have, through the studies and things that I've just recognized, I've come to the conclusion and observation that one, our lineage carries so many stories and so much information that is important to integrate, but also to discern if it's what you want to carry or not. So, for example, my lineage carries a lot of misdirected anger and passion. And it has shown up in my family as self-sabotage and self-destruction. So when I've come to see and recognize my own patterns, I've asked myself, oh, is this something that I want to create? Is this sustainable for the life that I envision and know I can create? No. So what does it entail? What does it include? What it includes is really honing in on the moments where our patterns are triggered and we continue to make the same choice that keeps perpetuating the pattern. So you can have a vision for your life and an ideal for your life, but if you haven't come to terms with it in your body and integrated that within your body, it's hard to feel like you have a choice. So for a long time, I felt like my only way to create an income was to choose things that I didn't want to do, to choose things that felt burdensome, to choose things that felt not satisfactory. And it's not to say that there aren't moments where you don't have to do that. You do have to do things that you don't want to do sometimes. That's just life. However, when I say things that I don't want to do, I mean things that are exploitative to my energy, things that are exploitative to my time, things that do not highlight what I actually came here to do. And so that type of way of being is not necessarily for everyone, but I know it's for me. And so that had to come with, one, separating myself from my family, because as a cycle breaker, sometimes you tend to carry the weight of your family, and that looks like trying to be the glue in your family's problems, trying to carry everyone's thoughts and opinions and things like that, trying to please everyone, trying to make sure everyone's good, when the reality is, in order to really create sustainable change for your family, you have to make sure that you're good. So